Is the Viper Mini still worth it in 2022? I have to say right off the bat, the Viper Mini is the best budget wired mouse on the market. Coming in at $30 and sometimes even less on sites like Amazon and Best Buy, you are not finding better value anywhere else, in my opinion. Let's get into the review. The Viper Mini is coming in at 61 grams, which is still about the entry point for lighter mice in 2022. It's also running the PMW3359 sensor, and if you're familiar with any Razer mice, you know that's a pretty solid sensor, and I've never encountered any issues. This does run Razer's optical switches, which are decent, but not my personal preference. I do tend to prefer like Kel 8.0s, as they give more of a click and responsive feeling in my opinion. As for the scroll wheel, the steps aren't really defined, which could cause some issues if you have weapon swap binded to it. But for basically anything else, I don't really see this posing much of a problem. As for the feel of the mouse in your hand, it just feels really great, especially if you fingertip grip or claw grip and you have small to medium sized hands. This is gonna fit like a glove. But if you palm grip or you claw grip with large sized hands, then this is probably not gonna work well for you, and it'll ultimately probably be a pass on the mouse as a whole. The coating on the mouse is pretty solid. It does have some light fingerprints, but nothing you can't easily wipe off. But if you do tend to have sweaty hands, then the coating is going to tend to exaggerate that problem. So grip tape is definitely not a bad option for more sweaty hand users. Razer does have their Synapse software that can be installed to further customize the mouse with RGB and different DPI settings, but out of the box, none of that is really needed, as you can just hit the DPI button and cycle through 4 different DPI cycles. I'm pretty sure it's 400, 800, 1600, and 3200. So this kind of allows you to avoid having to install additional software if it's not needed. As far as the cord on the mouse, it's not too bad. I would definitely probably recommend paracording it if you are familiar with how to do so. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do it. Or at the very least, make sure you have a mouse bungee that tends to run on the taller side, because I did notice that the cord tended to bunch up a little bit and sometimes curve, which caused some issues when I was making swipes and moving upwards in certain lateral moves. As for in-game performance, the mouse felt great, especially in Apex and Valorant. It feels very smooth. The weight distribution is done very well by Razer. I had no issues with micro adjustments, and tracking is where the mouse really shine. It's very consistent and effortless. The only two real cons I'd say about the mouse is that the liftoff distance can take a while to get used to, as it does have more than your usual mouse. There are videos on how to reduce that amount, but honestly, I didn't find any of them to ultimately help me. So if you tend to pick up your mouse a lot, then I would probably pass on the Viper Mini. And the other small issue is the cord. I think you definitely need to consider paracording it, or at least make sure you have ample space for the mouse, especially having a good bungee. That's going to allow you to not have any issues with your glide and just make it more consistent as a whole. But all in all, it's truly just a great mouse with good weight and weight distribution, and the cost of entry being sometimes sub $30, you really can't beat it. If you're on a budget or you're just getting into PC gaming, this is definitely a good mouse to start off with. We're committing hundreds or multiple hundreds of dollars on specific mice. So the Viper Mini in 2022, definitely worth the price, and it's definitely worth considering if you're okay with a wired mouse. Now, we just need Razer to drop the Viper Mini wireless, and we're really gonna have something big to talk about. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this shorter review on the Viper Mini in 2022. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to drop a comment, and if you found this video useful, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Hope you enjoy the video. Catch you in the next one. Peace.